maybe you realize that you need a bit of a update on your study sheet. Okay, so here you go. Given the polygon to the right, you count, right? You go 1, 2, 3 all the way. You realize that it has 11 sides, so the sum of that would be 11 minus 2 times 180 degrees. If you go 9 times 180, you get 1620. You get a mark for that. If you miscounted the sides, I would go -1 once, and then after that, I'm just going to give you the steps, okay? So got to be careful. Put a check mark where you start counting so you're not double counting. The measure of each interior angle, it is really taking the sum, right? Instead of using that long formula, I would just take the sum, right, the top part, divided by 11, and you get 147.27. We did that not just minutes before this AC, right? There you have it. The measure of each exterior angle, show 2 methods. So you can use this one because it's a regular polygon, and that would be 3273. Or I'll give you a mark for whatever you chose to start with, and I'll give you half a mark for the second method. The second method would be 180 minus whatever the interior angle is, and that would be 3273. And this is where you would have realized, if you used your previous answer, if you miscounted, you should have realized, wait a minute, well, maybe not, because you would still use the same number of sides you've picked, so no, maybe you wouldn't have realized it. Label 1 interior, 1 exterior, and 1 central angle using these letters. Yeah. Oh, 33. Just do a one-time rounding error, just one time, and then from then on we'll just forget about it today. But I will mark. I'd take half off every time, so round to 2 decimals. So, yeah.
When you do the first method, isn't it right about the 72? Because the rest is
Let's see here. That is 73, right? Just 7 bumps that to a 3. But if you ever notice anything that's kind of not adding up, let me know. Interior, so you go anywhere on the corner, you put an eye there, that's an interior. You go to any other corner and just keep traveling out of the shape, and that is your exterior, that's 1. And then you go to the center and you make a slice of pizza and you put a C there. So there you have 1, 1, and 1, right? So I don't care where you labeled them as long as they are where they're supposed to be. Please don't put the C outside, because then, I don't know, like, do you think this is the central angle? This big one here, reflex, right? You tell me that it's the one inside there. Okay, half a mark for each. So if you have them all right, you get 1.5 marks for that. And then a regular polygon has an interior angle of 172.5. How many sides does it have? This is backwards, right? So I will do this. I will figure out the exterior. That's 180 minus 172.5. And that gives me 7.5 degrees for the exterior angle. So I start with 7.5. That's E, right? I use this formula right here in case you're wondering what's happening, right? I'm using this. So I go 360 over n. I put a 1 underneath. You multiply and divide. I would even go as far as to say, if you know that you just have to find the exterior angle and divide that, right? Divide that into 360, you will get the marks for this step, okay? I prefer the proper way of showing this. So you end up with 48 sides, regardless of which method you used. If you use the interior angle formula, it's going to be a lot more work. But I've shown you a simpler way, right now. So next, I'm going to start with M up here. No, not a good idea. Oh, 123, Mr. Erickson. Look, they're corresponding. Yes, but this is not a parallel line, right? So don't do that. Okay. Start with highlight the parallel lines. Please do it on the exam, do it wherever you do one of these, like where are the parallel lines at? And then you travel on that transversal and see if you can make that Z. And then it should come to life there. It's like, oh, the 32 and the Y, they're alternate interior. Okay, so I'm going to use that as my first starting point here. 32 degrees, alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, so that's the first one I found. What do you want to do next? You want to find Z because you've got a triangle? Sure, let's do that one next. You go 180 minus 123 minus 32. I use sum of triangle is equal to 180, and that is going to be 25. So half a mark for the number, half a mark for the correct. No, actually I went all out on this one, 1 and 1. See, it's out of 8 to make it easier. So it's 1 mark for each. So if you have all the numbers correct, you for sure get 4 marks, 4 out of 8. What am I going to do next? I'm going to do M next here. So that's my third option. I see a straight angle here. There's a straight line connecting the two. So I'm just going to go 180 minus Y, which is 180 minus 32. That's 148. And I use straight angle. There we go. And last but not least is X. What would you use for X? You can do vertically opposite. You can do corresponding. I don't know if you noticed that. These are corresponding to each other. But it's 32 nonetheless. Okay? So you can use vertically opposite. If they're touching and there's an X there, okay, it's vertically opposite. Angles are congruent. No doubt about it. Okay, so out of 8, okay, put a mark there out of 8. If you feel like, if you're quite confident with your justifications, just go with it. Because if you did it a different way, I don't think you could have gone much different than me. Especially not at the beginning, maybe later on. Okay. Okay, this page is worth, hold on. This page is worth 15, I believe. So 8 and 2, that's 10, 13, 14, 15, yeah. So this page is worth 15. Maybe you should already tally that up. What did you get on this page out of 15? Yikes, right? Why would you do that to us, Mr. Dirksen? Work out the angle X. Assign letters if you find along the way. Do we know this angle right here? What kind of triangle? 60. It's an equilateral triangle. Yes. So angle Y is 60. It's an equilateral triangle. Okay. So we know all of these are 60. In fact, if you want to go ahead and do that, it doesn't hurt. And what kind of triangle is this one up here? It's an isosceles, right? Because these two are the same. This one is different than these two. So we know that these two angles are going to be the same. How would we find, what do we call this one? Z. Let's call that one Z. Angle Z is 360. Because there's a full circle, right? No way, right? 360 minus 250. I did give you a heads up that you might get a 360 every once in a while, okay? So there's a 360. I take away the 60. I take away the 250. And so this is what is left. That's what Z is. And that is 50. No. Is it 50? Yes, it is 50. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention. That's good enough for me there. And then for angle X, you would, this is a triangle here. If this is 50, so is this. Okay, because it's the angles will be the same across the two sides that are the same. So it's 180 minus 2 times 50. So angle X is 180 minus 100, so that's 80 degrees. I'll tell you this, if you got 80, you get 2 out of 2. If you were able to figure that out, you get 2 out of 2. If you got the 60 here, I'd give you half, at least half a mark if you figured out, oh, that's 60 for sure. You get half out of 2 already. If you find Z, I'll give you another half. But to get the full 2, you need to actually figure out what X is. Okay? So half for the 60, half for the 50, and then a full mark for actually figuring out 80 if you did parts of it. Next. PQ and RS are parallel lines. Which ones? PQ, this one, and RS, this one. They are parallel. Okay, and I put markings on there as well, but they're not as clear. Angle QTV is 38. QTV, well, it's already given. And UVP, this one is 60. So just in case you didn't, right, read it correctly, there they are. So now let's find angles. How would you do this? Let's do Y first, because it's touching. Right here, they're vertically opposite. So you know this is 60. Vertically opposite angles are congruent. Let's do Z next. There's a straight angle here. They're right next to each other, so that'll be 120. Straight angle. That's my second choice there. I'll give you 1 mark for each, by the way. And then X. How would you find X? It's a tough, it's not as straightforward as you would think. Okay. If we know Y, right? Y is 60. What do we know about this angle right here and this whole angle right there? What would we call these two? Consecutive interior, right? And we know that they have to add up to a 180, right? Anything in between the parallel lines that is formed adds up to 180. So I'm going to go 180 minus 60, this one here, minus 38, and that leaves me with 82. And I use CIAs are equal to 180. So 82 degrees is the answer to that one. Lots of work, right? You know. Next. Yeah.
I saw the triangle and then I used that last side that wasn't asked for and then named it to be alternate interior. Is that what to
Use alternate interior. Oh, you found this one.
yeah, that side?
Yes. Absolutely. What is this? This has to be 82, right? So he found this one. Just make sure you put the numbers in here. And then it's alternate interior. Yes, absolutely. Go for it. Triangles allow you to travel all over the place, right? Triangle rewards allows you to travel. I don't know. If you know what Canadian Tire is, then you know what I'm talking about. The original sphere has a volume. The original has this much. The new sphere has a volume of that. Determine the scale factor. Blast from the past. But what new? Volume of new. Volume of original. Okay? We're going to go k cubed because we don't know what it is. You put the numbers where they're supposed to go. 732, 42. Okay, and this one is 375. What do we need to do here? Cube root. Cube root. Oh, Mr. Dirksen, I'm just going to cube everything because there's a cube there, right? No, don't do it. It doesn't ask you to cube anything here. You need to cube root both sides. So k is equal to this. Now, on the test, I wasn't sure if you guys knew what you were doing. Some of you were cube rooting this and cube rooting that separately and then dividing. That works. I would say, why don't we just do this, right? Divide this Then you go, do you know where cube root is? Math, 4. I know. I'm very disappointed at them doing it making it that complicated to do a cube root. It's 0.80. So 1 mark for setting it up correctly, like putting the numbers where they belong, and another mark for actually cube rooting properly. Okay? So if you get 0.8, you get 2 out of 2. There's no question about that. Okay? Miles per hour to kilometers per hour. So this is 20 miles in 1 hour. You want you want to know how many kilometers. Sorry, no, that's not the way to do it, right? We're going to go, we know that 1 mile has this many kilometers. Okay, so the miles cancel out. Do we need to do anything with the hours? No, they stay. So technically, if you multiply out the bottom, you're left with 1 hour. If you multiply out the top, you're left with 32.19 kilometers, and you are basically where you want to be. So you just leave it like that. What if the bottom number had not been 1? Then you do one last step where you divide. Okay, so keep that in mind. 35 gallons per minute to liters per hour. I should say this is 1 mark only. This one is going to be worth 2 because there's a little bit more work. 35 gallons per minute. If this had said 35 gallons per 3 minutes, make sure there's a 3 here. Let me move that up. So we know that 1 gallon has 3.79 liters, that's correct. And we know that 1 hour has 60 minutes. So we cancel out the minutes, we cancel out the gallons, we're left with liters at the top. At the bottom is just 111, which is just 1, right? So this ends up being 79.59 liters per hour, if you do that right. So I'll give you 2 marks for this because you have to do 2 different conversions just to make it easier today. I know I'm tired too, just talking. Okay, so 2 and 6, that's 8, 10, 13 for the back side. 13. 13 for the back. What was the front again? 15, so it's a total of 28. Yeah.
What did you see the last answer was?
70. I know, you're having fun, aren't you? 79.59. Keep reminding me that I'm human.